To all the fathers and all the men in general, happy Father's Day. We really appreciate you. And wherever you are geographically tuned in right now, or wherever you are in general in your life, I just want this day to be special for all of you. We so appreciate you. Whether you're pastoring or fathering, I should say, your own biological kids, and that's pastoring too, or you're raising children that are not yours biologically. We all need fathers. And this day, for me, especially brings up a lot of emotions because it reminds me of everything that I am as a dad and everything I'm not as a dad. And it also reminds me of everything that I received as a child by way of fathering and everything that I lacked as a child from my father. It makes me reflect on all the people in my life who play fatherly roles, in addition to my biological dad, Mac Battle, whom I appreciate, but it also makes me think about all the other people who fathered me and who continue to father me to this moment. It's a very powerful thing, being a father. In fact, being fathered cannot even be quantified, how powerful it is, how fathers protect and they direct and they give guidance. It's hard to imagine the value of a father. In fact, it's a powerful thing to be fathered, and it's a painful thing not to be fathered. And so today, what I want us to talk about is, how do you do it? How does one father? How do you father? I mean, what's it all about? What's the right way? What's the correct way of fathering somebody? And how do you benefit and build on the fathering that you got as a man when you were a child? And how do you avoid repeating some of the errors of fathering that you received? How do you do it, and how do you do it effectively? That's what I want to talk about this weekend. And I don't want to do it alone. I figured this would be a good time to have a conversation with somebody that can help me. And so the person I've asked to help me today is no stranger to us. We call him Landover Larry. He is the father of Asa Jeremiah and Amanya Grace, and he's the husband of the former Miss Sherry Jews. Everybody, welcome to the stage right now, my man, Pastor Larry Maurice Paige.
Can we have a conversation? Can I talk to you? I need a little information, some education. Can I talk to you? Can we chop it up, 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 chop it up.
The drummer got the wrong color on his shirt now. Boogie. What's up, Pastor Paige?
What's going on, peanut butter?
We did it, man. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me on Father's Day
I'm
weekend.
so grateful. I'm honored.
Yeah, because ain't nobody going to take us nowhere today. We ain't going to get nothing but a necktie.
Two socks and a crab cake.
And the socks don't match.
And they going to get the crab cake from the Chinese store on the corner. We ain't even
and part of it been eaten off.
Come on, man. Come on.
That's terrible.
It come with the territory.
Yeah, I love it.
Sir.
I love it. And for those of you who are joining us, we're so grateful y'all with us this weekend. And we, listen, let's first of all say, we do not consider ourselves subject matter experts on fathering. We just trying to figure it out ourselves, just like many of the men who are watching us. And we know that there are men who are far more qualified than us, but certainly with the help of the Lord, his wisdom, we believe we can share something today that will be of help to you. So let's go for it.
Yes, sir.
Let's have this conversation.
Come on, man. Come on.
So listen, this is where I want to start.
Okay.
When children are small, right, when they're younger, our voice has preeminent authority. Like if we just say,
right.
They lips start quivering,
for sure.
Eyes tear up, and they just frozen, right? It's just and they straight. That's dad talking, right? They straighten up, right?
Tighten up.
But as you know, and I know, time goes on and they get a little older and more independent, and that I don't carry no weight. What happens to us as fathers when our voice is lost in the midst of all the other voices and influences? And by the way, let me tell y'all, all you fathers out there, it's going to happen. If it hasn't happened yet, your voice will fade and its influence is going to happen. So how do we handle that stage of fathering or parenting when our voice is not as powerful as it once was?
Can I get a hug first?
You need a hug on that
My
one.
father-in-law told me it was going to happen, and I literally looked at him like, yeah, right. My kids love me.
Right.
And it happened.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think when kids are born, we all should get a pack of Newports. Like, no, I'm serious. Like, I don't smoke, and I'm not encouraged
Just
to smoke.
to have them nearby.
You just need them. You just need
Just
like
light
4.
them and don't even,
Stop.
just let them burn out.
It's, what's wrong with you, man?
Oh, man.
But you know, as I have learned, because that's what fathering is. It's not just teaching your kids. You're learning how to father while you father.
Yeah.
And part of the voice that you lose is God's insurance. You know, when he made us, he created us to reproduce. And so the whole purpose of parenting and fathering isn't to get them, when they're kids, they mirror us. But as they become adults, the goal is to reproduce. And to reproduce means they got to replace. And to replace means that they got to be independent. And it's something about the independence that, at least I can't speak for y'all, independence triggers my insecurity.
Wow.
Because see, when you go independent, then you make me feel like I need to control.
Yeah.
But the goal of the whole goal of giving birth is to reproduce.
Wow.
So in order to reproduce, there has to be a divide. And the whole purpose of the divide is to create enough tension so the child can go. Now, me and my insecurity, I want to hold on to them like the Tower of Babel. You know, I got this,
You're going to go and be a replica of me.
And I'm trying to keep them in something that God has wired them to, if I don't let them go, they're wired to rebel.
Wow. That's the cocoon.
Yeah, they
You
gotta
said
get
enough
out.
already.
They got to get out.
Yeah.
I want to keep them in.
Yeah.
And part of establishing their own voice actually ensures that God's plan goes forward. Remember the Tower of Babel? He came down, he confused the languages because the people all want to stay under one roof. He says, I need you to move out. And it's the same for our children. Their independence isn't always rebellion. It isn't always disrespect. That's how I interpreted it. But oftentimes, it's a sign of successful parenting. You raise them to develop their own voice so that they can start their own family.
I don't even know what else to ask you. You talking about a paradigm shift from looking at that as being disrespectful to being developmental.
Yeah.
That's deep.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
deep.
learning.
There's so many paradigms with this, right? Because I know for me, like, you know, one of the things I struggled with was how can I be present in their lives, right? I need to be more present at the games and present at the cheerleading thing or whatever they're involved in, or just present. But a part of the development is, so you love them with your presence, but you got to prepare them for your absence, right? Good. So in order to prepare them for our absence, we got to pull back, because I need you to know what it's like to live without me paying all your bills and without me being here to rescue you. So that's another paradigm, because I need to feel needed.
Doc.
Come on, Doc.
That's
Happy Father's Day.
That's how you feel?
We don't even, we just struggling. And we talking all this trash like we got it mastered. And we struggling the whole time.
I'm learning.
I love it. You call something like that the parent trap.
Yes.
You call that the parent trap. Break that down for us. You said it's a trap called the parent trap. Break that down for us.
The common vernacular is the trick bag. Yeah. Because what happens, talking about our voice, we confuse telling for training. And it's not the same. You show kids, I mean, you tell kids, but you show adults, so as they grow, you show. And what happens is I confuse what I'm telling you to do. I told you, didn't I tell you?
Yeah.
How many times I got to keep telling you? And they looking at me and says, I'm not asking you to tell me, I'm asking you to show me, because that's how I learn. You understand?
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
So and then the other part that I learned is, as a parent, I have to discern the difference between me disciplining my child and God using my child to discipline me. You got to be disciplined to discipline. And oftentimes, when I discipline my kids, I'm out of control. And so God says, look at this. Isn't this interesting? This is an oxymoron.
Right.
You want them to be...
Who really needs a beat right now?
You out of control trying to tell them to get in control.
Wow.
How does that work? And so oftentimes, God is using the child to discipline me, the parent. Trick bag.
Hey, let me tell you something. I bet people gonna watch this more than once. They sending this link to people right now. You need to watch this, Roscoe.
Dude.
That is so profound. And it's like we have to understand what the process, you said discipline, right?
Sure.
That seems to be one of the challenging words, this word discipline, and how does it show up in our lives? Because when I think of the word discipline, I'm thinking of this rough, kind of harsh, necessary correction, right? But how would you define discipline, and how does it look like? How does it play out effectively and ineffectively? I know you just gave an example, like, what did I tell you? And the out of control parent. Are there any other things that you want to say and unpack as it relates to discipline?
Sure. Belt, shoe, branch, switch. I'm just being honest with you. I'm telling you how I discipline. I'm not going to fake.
Yeah.
Most of us learned discipline through what we've experienced.
Absolutely.
The problem is what we experience is often not the best way to define the term.
Mm-hmm.
So as I've grown, I've come to understand that discipline, God says he disciplines those whom he loves.
Wow.
So there is a correlation between discipline and love. And then Hebrews 12 and 11 talks about discipline being painful.
Yeah.
But after a season, it says those who've been trained by it,
by the discipline,
will reap a harvest. And so
Yeah.
there's a correlation between discipline and training. So it causes me now to say, well, how does this look in God's eyes? Never asked that. I got my discipline from my grandmother, my uncles. I got beat every day, but I'm better now. But Jesus is actually the example of discipline.
Yeah.
Because what he shows us is how love works through discipline. In other words, to be a disciple, to use that term, discipline and disciple are very similar, and it means to be a learner. Mm-hmm. It's education.
Wow. Yeah.
I want to slow down,
and
I want to say this clear.
Yeah.
It's not punitive. He did not come to punish us. He came to develop us.
That's good.
So my discipline, if I define it properly, is what will it take to develop this child according to their design so that they can produce the best. Isn't that how our dad does us?
Yeah.
He catches us in a mess, he looks at our design, and then he uses discipline never to punish, but always to get the best produce out of us.
And what's so deep about it is even when we do wrong, we have this expectation of grace from him.
Come on, Doc.
That's not how we look. That's not how our children think.
You preaching, Doc.
No, you preaching. This is messing me up.
Dude.
When I hear stuff like this, the first thing I think of, and like a lot of people think, I wish I had known that.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
this is information that I could have used so I ain't mess somebody up, right? And I think this is so important what you're sharing, because when you share discipline in Hebrews 12, talking about that point, is no discipline in the present is pleasant, right?
Yeah.
In the present, it's not
It's
pleasant.
not pleasant. It's painful.
Right?
Yeah.
It's painful.
It's painful. Yeah.
But when it works, the discipline brings that harvest, right?
Yeah.
The thing that got me, Pastor Paige, was the pain. When we hear that, okay, we think of the child.
Oh, you
Right?
Come on, Doc. Come on,
So I think,
Come on,
that's
Doc.
painful. This child got to go through this, but it's
Come on,
for your
Doc.
good. It's going to hurt you more than it hurt me, right? But I realized that as a parent, it hurts me too. Because I struggle with letting my children suffer their consequences. So to let them go through the consequences of their own decision hurts me, because I want to step in and intervene to nullify the consequences, but there's no change without pain. So what ends up happening is, that's why I like the prodigal son story, because God the Father was wise enough to let that prodigal son suffer outside of his father's awareness. He suffered in a far country. Because if that father had saw his son eating in a pig pen like that, he would have rescued him before the father developed him. He would have rescued him materially before he got fixed spiritually. That's why there's something, I can't handle seeing my kids suffer, but I have to remember it's what we're searching. It's the end game. It's the end
Can I
game,
throw this
right?
mic? Is it okay for me to throw?
I don't think we're going to get through it. We're going to be crying up here in a second. We're going to need some tissue in a second.
You just triggered something in me. You remember the story of Eli? He had 2 sons, Hophni and Phinehas.
Yeah.
That's actually what the Parent Trap, where it came from, because they were in the temple wilding, taking God's offering, sleeping with the women.
Yeah.
And the father comes to them in 1 Samuel chapter 2, like 24, verse 24, and he says, stop. What you're doing is wrong.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's discipline.
Right.
In chapter 3, verse 13, God pulls Eli up and says, essentially, I warned you. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off your future. Here is why. Because you didn't discipline them. I was stuck. I was saying, these are adults.
Yeah.
I told them to stop. I told him it was wrong. Why am I now in trouble? He says, here's why. Telling is not training. You told him to stop, but you didn't stop him. And in order to stop him, you're going to have to put some boundaries around him. Then I said, well, why didn't he stop him? It says because he and the boys were getting fat off of the offering. And I said, sometimes I use my kids to satisfy my own needs, because if I discipline them, it's going to hurt my own inadequacy. It triggers something in me because I didn't have it the same. I want them to have more than I had. You know, oh man, I will never treat them the way that I was treated. So I go out of my way to overcorrect, and at the same time, I undercorrect because I didn't put boundaries around myself. In other words, I governed with my emotions and my feelings, and my feelings cut off my future.
Wow. Can we have a conversation?
Stop.
Doom, doom, doom. Chop it up, chop it up. Boom, boom, with the gray shirt on. Doom, doom, doom. Hey, nah, we're going to have a good time. I don't even have to ask, are you getting something out of this? Is this helpful? We're going to need a minute to process this. Let's try to talk about something different for a minute, because this is really heavy, right?
Okay.
All right, so one of the things that I think we have to be careful of too, I know I struggle with, right, is so there's a passage, and I want to, okay, so when you hear this kind of teaching, right, which is phenomenal, right, which you're breaking down, if you're a father or you're a parent like me, you start feeling guilty, right? Like, dang, I messed up. In Isaiah chapter 1, and hopefully they can put these verses on the screen, right? Isaiah chapter 1, you know where I'm going? Yeah. I'm going to read these verses to you out of Isaiah chapter 1 because I got them on these cards here. But it's really, really amazing when it says that God says this. Watch this. He says, listen, O heavens, pay attention, earth. This is Isaiah 1:2. This is what the Lord says, the children I raise. Yeah. This is what the Lord says, the children I raise, cared for have rebelled against me. He says in verse 3, even an ox knows its owner and a donkey recognizes its master's care. But Israel doesn't know its master. My people don't recognize my care for them. Watch this. He says, oh, what a sinful nation they are. They are loaded down with a burden of guilt. They are evil people, corrupt children who have rejected the Lord. They have despised the Holy One of Israel and turned their backs on him. This is what God is saying about his children. And what really blessed me is that if you base your parenting on how well your children do, then you have misjudged yourself, because that means that God was a bad parent, because his children were buck wild.
Come on.
He says, my kids have rebelled against me. They're evil, they corrupt, they ain't got no respect for me. This is God, the Father, the perfect quintessential parent. And the reason why I needed that is because I'm competitive. That's my number one Clifton strength is competition. Then number 2 is achiever. So all of my parenting is connected to how well my kids are doing. That's when I consider myself, are they doing good academically? How are they doing in sports? How are they doing professionally? And if they are doing well in those areas, I kind of give myself an invisible pat on the back. Yeah, 4.0, we did that. I ain't did one test, right? But if they're struggling academically or athletically or professionally or whatever, then I tend to feel like a failure. But that's not the way you measure it. And here's why. And I want to encourage dads listening to me right now, because every child, Deacon Jose, will you say this? He said, every child, every human being is a free moral agent. that we all have free will. God has given every human being free will.
Yes, sir.
So even if you raise a child in an environment that's conducive to where you want them to be, there's no guarantee they're going to end up there because they make their own. So we might as well put our pen down trying to write their movie out, because they get to pick up the pen and they start writing the script. And they might write a script that doesn't fit what we had in mind for them. And I can want something for my child, but it's their life. And they get to write it the way they want. And I just want to encourage every father, every parent listening right now that you've done your best. Don't beat yourself up. And sometimes it's all about what the child wants for their own life. It's not just on us. So I wanted to just slide that in there in the midst of this, because even though we're trying to give the standard, we also need to give some grace to ourselves. That they might not end up like we want them to. They might do what they want to do, which is their prerogative, right? And that doesn't make us failures as parents. That's one thing I wanted to say. So I wanted to throw that in there.
No,
That was worth it?
Oh, my gracious.
Here's another question I want to ask you. Josh McDowell has this statement, two things. Josh McDowell says, rules without relationships leads to rebellion. I want to hear your thoughts on that. And then you say something, you say that that we don't just need a village for the children, right? It takes a village to raise a child. You say the parents need a village too. Yeah. You call that the parenting accountability.
Yes, partnership.
Talk about that
Yeah.
too.
I'm still stuck on the last piece of encouragement you just gave everybody else.
Yeah, I wanted to
I hope nobody thinks we will repeat again, we don't have this together by any means.
Ask our kids.
One thing God will give you in your kids is a reminder that you're not God.
Yeah.
You know, it humbles you. It humbles you. So, but your first question was,
rules without relationship leads to rebellion. That's what Josh McDowell statement. You agree with that?
So, if I could just give a quick picture of what came to mind when I saw that. My wife loves Cold Stone ice cream. And we picked up some ice cream, got out the car, and I hear this thump, and I hear her call from the garage. And I gotta show you. When I came in the garage, she was like this. She had the Cold Stone ice cream in the air. She said, help me up, honey, I've fallen. And it was not a drop of Cold Stone. I still, to this day, don't know how she didn't lose her cup.
Right.
But it helps me to better, it's a little tough getting back up. But it helps me to better understand.
You ain't practiced that.
I ain't practiced that. The rebellion, rules without rebellion.
Falling is harder than getting up.
Come on, Doc.
Huh?
She didn't lose the Cold Stone because she loved it.
Ooh.
When love is what you lead with, it's a lot easier to hold on to what you love. Kids don't hold on to rules. They actually rebel against the rules to teach us that we can't misrepresent who God is not about rules. God set it up so that we would hold on to his love. So when a child knows you love them, they will hold on to what you say, even if they're not following at the moment. I'm getting some receipts on that. And so rules without rebellion is just a reminder. We got to lead
rules without relationship.
Rules without relationship leads to rebellion. You got to make sure that we lead with love and not rules, or we misrepresent the character of God.
Wow.
And the rebellion is a spanking to you, to remind you, you can't just give me a bunch of rules without spending time and playing with me and talking with me and and listening and asking questions. And the same thing we do when we spend time with God.
Right.
He doesn't just give us rules, he relates to us.
And then asking a question and then respecting their answer.
And respecting it without telling them to shut up.
That's stupid.
That's dumb. Shut your mouth.
Yeah. So you think you know everything. That's a good way of keeping a good conversation, dialogue.
Yeah, it's a killer.
Yeah.
And they don't want to talk to you. Parenting.
Parents need a village too, huh?
They need a village because I learned the hard way that I can't parent in private. I can't parent in a silo.
Yeah.
And that I am not just fighting against what's going on in my child, but I'm fighting the culture that's also working against my child. Satan don't work in units, he works in teams. So households getting jumped and don't even know it. And so I realized now, if I keep it to myself, I done gave him the advantage because he works through rulers, principalities, authority. He's a gangbanger. That's what the enemy is, and he hates the family. So I'm fighting my kid, but really it's the culture that's working on him, that's working in my household. So man, I better call, before I make a move, I'm telling you what I do. Sometimes I'm wrong, and I need to call my brother Ron or my brother Kenny or sometimes you and say, your perspective is off. Watch this. If I'm not under authority, my kids won't submit to mine. I learned that it gets passed down. So if I can't listen to you, why do I think my kids should listen to me? You need a village to cover a family. And we missed that. We missed the block.
Yeah, we both have experienced that in our life. Like when you as a father have to humble yourself and go to somebody who plays a father role in your life and then do what they say. Like say, no, I don't think you should do that. Right? I think it's powerful to do that, one, but it's even more powerful to tell your child, here's why I'm not doing it. Like,
I'm accountable.
Like my pastor told me that I was handling you the wrong way. Or my mentor told me, my uncle told me, or my father said I was handling. And what they get to see is, wow, you listen to people? Because you can't, the maturity always respects authority.
That's right.
No matter where you are.
That's good.
Maturity always respects authority.
That's good.
Hashtag that.
Oh, my gracious.
Or Cash App it.
Yeah, that's good.
Your Cash App keeps Battle 3.
And I always say this. You stupid.
Father's Day. Trying to get something for Father's Day.
I always say this to my. I say this to my wife. I would say this to other parents. Remember, you're coaching for 4 quarters, and sometimes we judge our kids at halftime. And what I realize is I can't grow a seed if I'm stepping on it. Sometimes I gotta plant it, and then I gotta stand off of it, and I might not see the return until the next five years.
You just can't plant a seed if you're
we
stepping
get
on it.
angry because we don't see fruit now. Imagine planting a seed and expecting to see fruit immediately. That's not how a harvest works.
Grow.
You look crazy.
Grow. You ain't growing?
Right.
I told you that last night.
Beating the ground. So be encouraged, because the child that gives you the most hell might turn around and be the greatest blessing in the family for generations. Just don't see it right now.
I think that's the case with us, right? That's probably what our
They
parents.
were very concerned about me.
Yeah, for sure. So you mentioned this is the first half, right?
Right.
So by the way, let me just do a plug. Please, when we finish this conversation, do not leave us. We got some amazing stuff we're gonna show y'all that we did for some dads that's gonna really bless you. I want you to stay and watch that right after this conversation. You talked about halftime, right? So you also say that there are seasons in which you discipline differently, right? At different stages. Your discipline must adjust itself. What is that thing you talked about, like boundaries, freedom fences? Talk about those stages of discipline.
At least in my mind, from what I've experienced, I'm not saying this is the law, I'm just giving you a picture. If you think about sports, there's a season where you're a player, season where you're a coach, season where you're an owner. A player, 0 to 11, the formidable years, you're playing with them, you're observing, you're training. It's discipline with management. So you got a tighter rein. That second stage, I consider that 12 to 25. That's when you're a coach. When you're a coach, you're calling the play, but you're asking questions. Remember, the goal is to develop them according to their design, and you can't do that if you don't discover their talent. And so part of that is just guiding them. But as an owner, and I experienced this at one of my son's game, I was in the stands. I couldn't be out. I was in the box. I couldn't be on the field. At that point in time, it's more about a conversation. It's more about letting them own their decisions, and then the life lessons and experiences we get to share together. So as they get older, you take your hands more off of the management.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good picture.
Yeah.
That's a good picture.
Yeah.
Let's talk about people. So you grew up in a family. We all grew up in some family construct. Whether it was biological or grandmom raised us or foster situation, whatever we grew up in, we learned how to parent from that environment, right? Then you grow up and you get married. And now this person didn't grow up in the same house that you did. Otherwise, that would be an inappropriate marriage, probably, right? More than likely. So you come from two different constructs, two different substratums of what parental philosophy we're going to use to raise, how we're going to educate the kids, how we're going to bring about correction, coaching, player, owner, all that's different, right? Now, I'm not talking, so that's one potential conflict, but then the other one is when you come into a blended family situation and these kids already, and the first thing they tell you is, you ain't my father. This is the first thing, F-A-U-V-A. You ain't my father. Right, straight up, right? So anyway, what is your advice for people who come into contexts where there may be extreme differences in philosophies on parenting, and there you stand with your right guard and your remote control in your hand and your pretzels, and you're gonna get your 2 socks for Father's Day anyway.
Dude.
What do you say to those dads?
That's the NFL. I mean, that's like a blended family is probably one of the most challenging constructs to start with. And so I'll just say I'm very sensitive to that. It's hard. I don't care who you are. But I will add, I wish, I'm gonna say this as a wish, I wish we would look at our relationships like businesses. This is a corporate merger. And what happens, PB, is we try to govern our households with our emotions rather than systems. If I owned a company, even if you and I came from different places, if we're going to partner, we'd write down whatever the values would be, what's the win, and what are we trying to produce?
Yeah.
But then instead of depending on your thoughts and my thoughts, we would say, what systems do we need to produce these results? What would happen if blended families, says I get that we got disagreements, but systems govern behavior, not feelings. If you leave it to your feelings in the midst of pressure, habit and attitude is undefeated. You cannot, and I know it's tedious, who's gonna create a system, but a system could be as simple as, we're gonna pray at the beginning of the day, we're gonna celebrate at least once a day, and we're gonna pray at the end of the day. What I mean by system is a routine that will produce the results that you're looking to produce. Too many people are going through hell because they're governing life through feelings. What if God left the respiratory system to your feelings? What if he left your cardiovascular system to your feelings? He doesn't. He put stuff in place that works around the clock to ensure consistency in behavior. And if we can just import that into the more difficult and messy it is, the more structure is needed. So we trying to manage mess with mess. And then wonder why it ain't getting better.
Right. That is so good. What if your respiratory system was governed by your feelings? I don't feel like
breathing today.
Right.
Oh, well.
Wait, that's tough.
You dead.
That's tough. I don't feel like,
beating today. My heartbeat is just,
wow. This is so good. This is so good. Hey, we're coming. We're going to wrap this up. Let's go here. This is world famous. We're going to do this with a drum roll right here. You know what time it is? Boom!
Rapid fire.
We had family pictures and everything. We're going to find a way to put them up.
We babied in them. We show our baby.
Before we do rapid fire, can we show our family?
Children.
Can we see our kids and our spouses?
Children.
Look at that.
My children.
That's the Paige family. That's a beautiful picture, man. Your son's graduation. It's hard to get pictures with them as they get older, man.
That was a miracle. Him and his sister together. That
you know,
was
I
a miracle.
know. Yeah.
There they go.
Yeah.
There they go. PB and
that was hard too. Everybody smile. Smile, I said. All
Love
right.
it,
That's
man.
That's our tribe.
Beautiful, Doc.
That's our tribe.
You've done well. Happy Father's Day, man.
Happy Father's Day, man.
You did it, man.
I mean, let's go get something to eat today,
that's
man.
what I'm talking about,
Pay
man.
for it ourselves.
That's all. That's the only way we're gonna get it.
Amen. All right, rapid fire. We ready? This is our world-renowned rapid fire. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right, Larry Paige. What's the most weight you've ever bench pressed? Now, before you answer this, a lot of people don't know that you were a personal trainer. You had your own fitness place
Yeah.
and you've been about fitness for the majority of your life. Heaviest weight you bench press?
It was around 405 or 410. I can't
Woo-hoo!
remember.
405 or 410.
Yeah.
So if you ever need somebody to run security or anything of that nature,
That was a long time
a
ago.
long
I can tell them what 410 is. Route 410.
Route 410. I love it. I love it. What's your favorite dessert?
Banana pudding.
Banana pudding. Nice. They got some. We're gonna put a plug in for Ben's Chili Bowl.
Oh,
They got some
don't
great-
say it. There's a
Ben's Chili
as long
Bowl.
as it's not delivered by a Dallas fan. I'm
Yeah, it
good.
can't be. We gotta
long,
keep it
long,
going. Yeah.
long as it come through another
Yeah,
set of
yeah.
hands, because
Yeah.
the anointing gonna be off. It
The
ain't gonna be
anointing go
right.
right off,
It ain't
right
gonna be
off.
right.
I know you because I know you. This might be tough for you. Top 3 movies for you of all
Oh,
time.
come on. U5,
He a
71.
movie buff.
Gladiator,
Would you say?
U5, 71.
Yeah, that's that leadership one. U571.
Gladiator and Braveheart.
Nice. You get it. You did it quick. All right. You get to pick 3 of your favorite TV shows, but they're gonna be sequenced in time.
Oh,
Your
my
favorite
gracious.
one as a child, your favorite one as a young adult, and your favorite TV show now.
Good. As a child, it would have been Land of the Lost, Enoch and the Sleep Stacks. Y'all, you don't even worry about it.
I have
Look
no
it up
idea
on.
what that
Look
is.
it up. That's all right. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it. Some of y'all remember
What was that
the
on
Sleep
channel?
Stacks and
On
Enoch.
channel 66 or something?
You said channel 66.
What is that? I don't even know
You
what
know,
that
it's
is.
like what was that? PBS, one of them channels. Anyway, I can't remember what it was. But that
Bless
was
you.
my. Yeah, you said bless me.
Bless your heart. Yeah.
And the Wonder Twins and all that. The
Okay.
Hanna-Barbera. That whole anyway. You said as a young
adult? Yeah.
Young adult. Probably the Cosbys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now,
I don't have a life now. I don't have a TV show that I like now. It's just
I
times
don't
have
either.
changed. I really
I don't either. The game, the basketball game.
Yeah, you're right.
got you. I'm
Yeah.
like that
YouTube. That's my favorite
YouTube. I love
TV
it.
show now.
Here's one: LeBron James or Michael Jordan? Who's the greatest basketball player ever? Between those 2.
Some questions should not be
Yeah,
included.
I know. Because you're gonna lose some fans right here. You're gonna gain some. Now I'm gonna tell you where to go. If you want to stay in the old school club, you better say what you better say.
Dude,
But
all
if
right,
you-
I'm
if-
the greatest of all time.
Look how stuck he is.
I'm going to say Michael Jordan with an asterisk.
With an asterisk.
Yeah, I know. Y'all say,
Because we got a little studio audience here of 6 people.
Because I feel like LeBron James is the best all around. You're not going to appreciate him until he's gone.
Yeah.
His talent development, which is I love, is
Yeah.
all world, my opinion. He's gone through several teams and made everybody great. Michael is a great individual player.
Okay.
So,
All right.
yeah.
These are your questions.
Yeah.
I know this answer. Best carry-out pizza ever.
Matter of fact, I'm changing my answer. LeBron James. Ah, there it is. I'm just that's
Just
adaptable.
say it with your chest.
Yeah, LeBron James.
Yeah,
now that
say
I
it
think
like it's
about
a
it, I have
bench
to get back
press.
to my
I got you. I
best
got you.
pizza, you said?
Best carry-out pizza ever.
Lido's.
I was about to say,
Come
I know
on.
you ain't back
I used to stand in line for Lido's.
This dude is a Lido. He should have stock in Lido's. That's all
Yeah, I
he
really
eats.
should. I should have.
Best fast food French fries ever.
Fast
food French
fries.
fries. Any fast food French fries that make you remember and go back.
I mean,
And hide them. Don't share them with your kids.
McDonald's.
McDonald's, the stringy ones with the salt
McDonald's.
on
They're
them.
not really French fries, but
No.
McDonald's. you can
Processed
you can
poison.
heat McDonald's French fries up next year. They'll still be good. They be just as crunchy. Be like, man, these Jones banging. When you make this last year of March,
This our pre-pandemic batch.
These Jones banging. You microwave them, they come right back to life. What you talk about? You thought I was dead. They the only French fries. They the only French fries that don't get stale, Doc. You add like 3 drops of oil and put them in the microwave. They bounce back strong as a mug. Like, dude, what you talking about?
Oh, man. All right, man. I got to get through these.
I'm sorry, man.
All right. Tell us some things you enjoy doing that may surprise people. Some things you enjoy that people may not know.
Exercise.
You need to exercise. We know you
No,
exercise.
I'm joking, man.
But that's good you enjoy
You know
it.
what? Home decoration,
I know. That's your
interior
thing.
design. Yeah, like
You do that.
in another life, I could do that as a
Yeah.
job.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. Who's the best cook in your house?
Me? No, I had to catch myself. My daughter.
Nice.
She's a monster. She's really good.
Okay, so let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's say everybody in your house, the four of you cooked. Oh, let's put it this way. With each person, what is their best dish? If you had to eat something Asa cooked, you had to eat something Sherry cooked, they had to eat something you cooked, you had to eat something Amaya cooked, what is the best thing that each person prepares?
Absolutely. This is easy right here. Asa, water out of the refrigerator, preferably. Like the dispenser. Yeah. Yeah. Then just set it on the counter and walk away. That was the easy one. Not that.
He gonna make ramen noodles or nothing.
Don't even put ice cubes in it. Just get this, put it on the counter. My wife, macaroni and cheese.
Okay.
My daughter makes, and I don't really even eat meat, but her lamb chops are out of this world.
Yeah, I love lamb chops.
Yeah.
And what about you? What's your specialty?
Crab cakes.
Crab cakes and kale. You said
Crab
that.
cakes and kale. She makes better kale than me, but yeah, I taught her.
Here's an interesting question. If the 66 books of the Bible were stripped down to 2 books, and you had to choose which 2 books, one from the Old Testament and one from the New Testament.
One from what?
One from the Old Testament, one from the New Testament, and we had to live with those forever. Which 2 books would you pick and why?
That is, who told you to come up with these questions?
Man, I make these questions up, man.
Genesis,
That's what I do.
Genesis and Romans.
And why?
Genesis gives you the story of humanity, sets us up. Romans gives you God's operation system, So
Good.
for me, yeah.
Great answer. If you were physically blessed to play one professional sport and you could do it for a living, what sport would it be? What position would you play?
What sport and what position? Probably basketball and point guard. Yeah.
Good. As a Christian leader and an apologist who's been asked a ton of questions about God, faith, Christianity, the Bible, what has been one of the hardest questions to answer that people ask you about God, faith, Christianity, or the Bible?
It'd have to be reconciling God's justice. Like, why would a good God allow so many people to suffer? Or why did God, at least in the Old Testament, wipe out entire nations?
Yeah. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
You want to just, in 15 seconds, I know it's hard to answer. What's your short answer to that?
Yeah, short answer is God is sovereign.
Good.
Yeah.
Look that up.
Yeah.
What 3 books have influenced your life the most?
Wow. The Bible, obviously. The most. I want to say to some degree, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I can't say I went through the whole thing, but his paradigm shift was impactful. And I had to come back to you on the 3rd. I pinch off of so many books, I can't tell you one that's had a life-changing impact, but those are 2.
Good.
Yeah.
We're almost done. If your biological father was still here, what would you want to tell him?
Dude, who came up with these questions, man?
That's what I do.
Duh. What would I want to tell my biological father? Yeah. I wish you were here. Yeah.
How has his absence help you or hurt you in your own fathering?
The absence hurt me in that I had to work, I believe, extra hard to both figure out and affirm my identity. A lot of energy on that. it helped me probably even more because I found that through Christ in my walk with God and godly men. So had he been here, given what I know of him, I may have been very influenced by his model, and I may not be in this position.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Appreciate your honesty.
Yeah.
Pastor Paige, I'm going to say or name a word,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you can only give one word in response to it.
Mm-hmm.
Every word I give, you can only give one word. You ready?
Yeah.
Sherry Paige.
Heart.
A. Lorenzo McKinney.
Father.
Miriam Collins.
Twin.
Ron Pinkney.
It's hard to say in one word. Can I say best friend? Is that one word? Is
Go
it
ahead.
convert? Or best,
Go ahead.
yeah, best
Hyphen.
friend. Yeah.
Diane Collins.
Inspiration.
Amanya Page.
Leader.
The Barbershop.
Family.
Asa Page.
Clone.
COVID-19.
Rest.
Lee Collins.
Anchor.
Cicadas.
Sick of them.
Daniel Collins.
Bro.
Teddy Page.
Needs a job. I know that's not one word.
That's his dog, for those who don't know. And for the last word, you can use as many words as you want.
Mm-hmm.
Dad.
Wow. Model. Guidance. Direction. Leader. Manager. Love. Yeah.
Good.
All those come to mind.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, man,
Yeah.
I can't thank you enough for this. We
Dude,
laughed.
you had them tough
We
questions,
laughed till we
man.
cried. We cried and we laughed. This has been great. I'm
Thank
so
you.
grateful. Your words have helped all of us. And so thank you for joining us for this conversation. And I want to thank all of y'all who joined us this weekend and been a part of this experience. We trust that you've gotten something out of this. And I hope you share this link with others and tell them about this conversation. It's been our joy to share it with you today.
Can we have a conversation? Can I talk to you? I need a little information, some education. Can I talk to you? Can we chop it up?
Hey friends, I hope you've enjoyed this Father's Day conversation. We've laughed and we've shared our hearts, and it's been a joy to have this time with you all. But I want to tell you that even if you're imperfect as a parent, there is somebody who is perfect. God is a perfect Father, and He can help all of us be better people, first of all, and then He can also help us to be better parents. But one of the places that it starts with is us having a relationship with Him. See, that's what God offers to us, a relationship with Him. And I want to offer you that opportunity today. Maybe you haven't established a relationship with Him, because the old saying that we're all God's children, I know that people mean well when they say that, but I don't believe that's true. I think we're all God's creation. He created all of us. Without our input, without our involvement, He created us. But if you're going to be His child, that's your choice. He says, behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man will open the door, I'll come in and sup with him and he with me. But you must choose. In fact, Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no man comes unto the Father but through me. So you have to choose to be His child. And you can do that simply by just praying a prayer like this, saying, God, I want you to be my Father. And Jesus, I want you to be my Savior. And God, I want you to forgive me for my sins. And Jesus, I thank you for dying for my sins. It's just that simple. And if you want to do that today, right now, I can do that with you. I can pray with you. In fact, if you want to open your heart and make a relationship with God yours definitively right now, I want to pray with you. Just open up your heart and Say these words to God. Say, God, I want you to be my Father. And Jesus, I want you to be my Savior. God, forgive me for all of my sins. And Jesus, thank you for dying for all of my sins. I thank you for this moment right now. Amen. Listen, if you prayed that prayer with me, there's several things I want to do to help you keep this journey going, help you keep going. You can text the word next steps to 51555. That's next steps to 51555. Or you can email info@zionchurch.org. And we want to help give you information. You can just say, I just prayed with Pastor Battle, and we want to give you the next steps to keep your faith growing in Jesus Christ.